My name's Martin James Bartlett. I'm from Essex and I'm a concert pianist. I first started at the age of 6 with my mother teaching me. And in fact, I think my earliest experiences of music were probably even before then, because in fact, when I was in the womb, she was playing at piano assemblies at school. So therefore, I had the dulcet tones of my mother's piano playing ringing through my ears. At the age of 7, I went onto the Royal College of Music and I've been there ever since. I'm now 24 and I'm just embarking upon an artistic diploma there. And I've loved every moment, actually. They've given me some wonderful opportunities. I've been lucky enough to perform for Sir Andras Schiff, and through that masterclass playing Schubert for him, which was unbelievably terrifying, but so rewarding. I've then been to Salzburg and played for him at the festival there, the Genome Concerto, and he's given me a wonderful masterclass on that. And also I had the immense privilege of performing under Bernard Haitink's baton with my peers in the symphony orchestra. So all in all, it's been an absolutely wonderful time. So back in 2012, I first entered the BBC Young Musician of the Year competition, and I got through to the piano finals, but sadly I didn't progress any further. And after that, I enjoyed the whole process, but I was unsure whether I really wanted to put myself through the stress and all. It's incredibly hard work to get everything ready, all of the different repertoire, get your concerto ready. However, in 2014, my teacher had already, unbeknownst to me, filled out an application form for the BBC Young Musician, and all that was left was for me to sign it at the bottom. Therefore, I entered, and we planned a lot more thoroughly, actually, the second time, and we had many conversations, hours long, in fact, discussing repertoire and working out which way we could best pace the journey of the competition if I were to progress. And I got through to the finals and had a wonderful time in Usher Hall playing with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra. And I played one of my favourite pieces of all time, the Rachmaninoff Rhapsody on the theme of Paganini, and was very lucky enough to win. And since then, I've really enjoyed everything that's come because of it. The phone was ringing straight after the competition. I had to do interviews, and it was all very unfamiliar to me, but it was the music that really, really got me going through it, and I loved it. Last year, I signed an exclusive contract with Warner Classics to release some albums. The first album of which being Love and Death, which there was a lot of time spent about how to pace the album, how to structure it, and I really wanted it not to be just a compilation of works that I loved, but I wanted it to work as a journey, and I wanted it to be contrasting, and I wanted to try and explore as many different styles of music as I could and link them together through some universal themes. Therefore, the title we came up with was Love and Death, and we started with an agape heavenly love of Bach, some transcriptions by Busoni and Myra Hess. And then we moved on to the more passionate love of Liszt and the Petrarch sonnets, which I've been fortunate enough also to perform with the tenor Ben Jonson, which really did help me as a pianist, I think, discover the vocal line and actually look into the words more, which as pianists we don't deal with words very often. Also Widmung as well, we have performed together. And then I wanted to finish the disc with some punch, therefore I chose the Prokofiev's Seventh Sonata, which is incredibly tumultuous and pretty fiery in nature. The recording process overall was very rewarding. I was lucky to work with someone who I'd known for a very long time, the producer Stephen Johns, and he has been at the college in his role of artistic director since I was there from a very young age. So it felt very comfortable to be working with someone who I felt so close to. Also, we had a beautiful venue, which was a wonderful church, St. Jude's, and it had beautiful stained glass windows and sort of this wonderful art, being surrounded by wonderful art and architecture whilst you're playing this beautiful music, especially Bach, is very, very inspiring. I think one of the highlights of my career to date has certainly been performing for Her Majesty the Queen's 90th birthday celebrations, which was unbelievably terrifying because it was broadcast live from St. Paul's Cathedral on BBC One TV, and there were nearly all of the prime ministers that were still with us were sitting in the row behind my mother and me. And I played a piece by Arnold Bax, who was master of the King's and the Queen's music, actually, called Burlesque. And it was a terrific experience, actually. And sadly, I did not get to meet the Queen at the end because she had to dash off for some other royal duties. But I had a really lovely chat with Princess Anne, and there was a wonderful reception with a considerable quantity of champagne afterwards, which always makes life worth living, really. I mean, I don't know. One of my real highlights has been going over to New York and auditioning for YCA. I stayed with some wonderful friends. Actually, they had an Airbnb and I stayed with them, and we've now become very close friends, and it was such an immersive, wonderful experience, and I'm pleased to be going back to America, hopefully relatively often, to do concerts. Also, Japan is such a marvelous place. Everyone is so very kind and very generous and look after you so well. It's always an absolute pleasure to go to Japan. The jet set life is a hard one to answer because I wish I could say that it was glam, but it's not quite as glam as it seems. You know, first class lounges come along very, very rarely, and it's more sort of Ryanair and trying to see if you can book in a seat at the last minute and You know, I did fly business class once, which was to Japan, and actually I arrived on the flight and there was a gentleman sitting in my seat. And I said, I'm very sorry, but that's my seat. And he said, well, it isn't anymore because my girlfriend's next to me and this is where I'd like to sit. So I eventually found my way to his seat and sat down and was greeted. I had a personal greeting by one of the air stewardesses who said, oh, sir, as one of our most wonderful gold card members, we'd like to offer you an entirely different menu. She said, everyone else has to have chicken, but we've got some beautiful steaks and some lovely vintage champagne. So I basically took all of his steak and champagne and walked past on the way to the loos, and he was eating some dry chicken. So who's the real winner there? I didn't want to sit next to his girlfriend anyway.